All right. So this is using artists and how not to be rude. When you use another artist, you have different ways to go about it. Okay. But the biggest thing is how would you feel? The golden rule. You know, you should really take that into account. You should really take that personal, and really just understand that when you're doing this, because it doesn't feel good when you are doing a film for somebody and they don't appreciate you, or they make it seem like anybody can do your job, or things like that. Like, it's just common sense. But the truth is, if you treat people how you want to be treated, and you treat people as an artist how you would want to be treated as an artist, you would work harder. And so you can get somebody to work harder for you by being nice to them, by taking care of them, by paying them more, of course, or by just simply showing them that you understand and appreciate them. It's something that the corporate world still has a really, really hard time understanding. They just look and use a number, and then they wonder why they have such a turnaround, but they don't care because they have money, because everybody bails them out. But without getting too far into that, let's explain this in two ways, right? So let's say you do have the money to get somebody, right? When you're getting an artist to come in and assist you in your production, in your work, you need to look at all of their work. If you're considering them, like, let's say that you're making a social media post. Make a social media post saying, I'm seeking a cinematographer, right? Cinematographer wanted, I need somebody that can do this and this and this, whatever. Then you start getting responses. You should give yourself at least, right, if you can manage it, don't do this last second, right? It should be obvious, but it's not. But if you can give yourself at least 3 days to make a decision, right? That's super, super fast, right? Giving yourself a week, having time to make a phone call with them, to talk to them on the people that you've selected. You're probably gonna get a lot of responses, especially when you put paid. Now, when you put paid and you don't say exactly how much you're willing to pay, people will, be interested, and they'll see what's going on. And as soon as they hear, oh, that's how much you're paying? No. Or, oh, that's how much you're paying? Hell yeah, I'll do that. Whatever it's gonna be. But if you do put it up, then make sure that you're putting it up not as an insulting rate. So look up, how much does it cost? Ask some friends, reach out to different videographers and say, hey, how much would you charge for such and such of a videographer that you like? Search them up and see. And then you can kind of get an idea. People just post and then they go, oh, well, I thought, $20 an hour would be great for somebody doing videos. Exposure, shooting for exposure is not a thing anymore. It doesn't. People don't like it. People get upset. People know that you're not serious when they say that kind of stuff. You're back in the day or whatever. But if you are getting them and you are hiring them, then you're looking at their stuff. Make sure that you look at as much of it as possible. So start off with the demo reel. Okay? They should be sending you a demo reel. You should be asking for a demo reel or some kind of portfolio or something like that. If it's an actor, then you want to get the headshot. Do they even look the part before you even go any further? Like, don't waste people's time and have them send you an arm and a leg and everything, that now you have everything to look at from a bunch of people, and half of them don't do the style that you're looking for. So look for that. Take a glance, take a look. You should give them probably like 10 seconds. If they haven't really got you intrigued in about 10, 15 seconds, that's how the industry goes, by the way. But if they haven't interested you in about 10, 15 seconds, move on, especially if you get a bunch of responses. Now, if you don't get that many responses, that means that maybe not that many people are interested in what you're pushing. So if they're not really interested in what you're pushing, then you need to kind of go, okay, I need to look with what I got. Beggars can't be choosers kind of situation. But let's say that, they do like it. You have a bunch of them. 10 to 15 seconds is more than enough time to see, like, hey, is this something that's kind of going on? People get upset about that. Always you give them all time. Sometimes you don't have enough time. I've been in situations like that where I'm like, I don't have enough time in a day. I got freaking 3 jobs. I got all kinds of shit I got to do. I got to see this and move, And so you try, or I got so many responses. It's going to take me so much time to get through this. Look at it. See, okay, yeah, this person might work. Now, if they might work, put them down on a list. Go through everybody. Once that 3-day period is over, right? Now you have everybody that's responding. Put a list of the people that you're interested in. Now, when you put that list of the people that you're interested in, you need to start looking into their careers. Look them up. Simply Google them. Especially if they're an artist and they're promoting their services, right? And they're trying to give you a service. You need to look them up. They should pop up somewhere. If they don't pop up nowhere, that's a little sketchy. That's a red flag. Put your people and your red flags off to the side. That way, once they have too many red flags, like 3 red flags, honestly 2 red flags really is, but let's say 3 red flags are being nice, they got 3 red flags, don't contact them. That's weird. I have run into so many filmmakers that took people on and then went, oh my God, dude, what is going on? You're not shooting anything of what you said you shot. And then it turns out they stole somebody else's demo reel and they just put their name on it. They would have known that if they would have just looked them up, but they refuse to do so. They won't do their homework. Now, once you look them up and you say, okay, these people or this person or whoever, these are the ones that I like. I like these ones. Then give them a call, set up a meeting, set up something, see if you vibe with them, see if they have any questions about the project, see what's up, just talk to them. Talking to them and being human is also going to give you an opportunity to really see what they are. They're going to see what you are, and you might be able to work out a deal, especially if you're working on a tight budget. The only way you're going to find that out is if you talk to them. Then, if you decide to use them, trust them. Honestly, it's something that people have such a hard time doing. A director thinks if I hire a director of photography, if I hire a cinematographer, they're just a cameraman. They're just somebody that, it doesn't matter what they do, they need to point and shoot and do what I say. If your film knowledge, right, if you cannot do what they do or better, shut the fuck up. Honestly, shut up. It doesn't make any sense. If you can't do what they do or better, you need to stop. I've had story time. Let's do a quick story time. I had this one filmmaker who the guy had been in the industry for, I want to say, like 35 years. And I got onto it because I was fresh into the game. I was living in Colorado. There wasn't much going on around there at the time. And he had a 48-hour film festival project that he was shooting. And so I actually got through to him through a Facebook post and through a friend that was also a producer. And so she wanted to be a part of it. And so she had just started shooting, trying to be a cinematographer. And she was asking me to teach her and give her these lessons. And so I said, well, let's see what kind of projects we can get on. We can make our own, of course, but let's kind of see what we can find. And so we did. We found this project and we worked with this guy and we go to, meet him and we start working with his cameras because he's got these new cameras that I hadn't had experience with. And then I found out, oh, okay, this is super easy. Like I can do this. And being a cinematographer, I understand framing, I understand lighting, I understand how to do the job, how to get it. Each camera is a little bit different and you got to learn it, but I was willing to do that. So I said, okay, yeah, let me just kind of get some experience with the camera. And they said, we're going to shoot a pre, film to that 48-hour that's just going to be kind of like a tester to see how everybody works as a crew. I said, oh man, what a great idea. What great preparation to do that. I said, cool. So then I show up and I say, hey, can I do my own, I ask him, do you have a shot list? He says, no. I said, okay, is it cool if I make one? He says, sure. I said, that's sweet, that's super cool. So I make this shot list, I go back to him, I say, hey, what do you think of this? And I show him the shot list. I said, this is what I'm looking at. He goes, that's perfect, I love that, that'll be great. I said, phenomenal. So I shoot it. We have no issues whatsoever. We end up going into the next day, right? And we show up on the next day. I go up to him, he's running frantic, right? We only have a little bit of time to start shooting, and I'll continue the story in a second. But, we're just kind of, it's a little bit crazy, it's a little bit hectic. It's the actual shoot day, there's a lot of nerves going on, all that kind of shit. And so I go, hey, do you have that shot list that you said you're gonna have last night? Do you have that? And he goes, no. I said, oh, okay, so is it cool if I make one? He goes, no. And I said, okay. And he goes, I just gotta make sure that you do it right, and I gotta make sure that, I gotta do it with you. I said, all right. And so this is where instantly as an artist, I am hired to do something, and instantly I get told, I don't trust you. Now this is a little bit ridiculous because this is after I've already proven that I can do the job. But I get told, sit down, I'll come because you can't have the freedom on this one. So I was like, okay. I was like, sure, no problem. And so I sit down and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and hours are going by and nothing's happening. And then I keep coming up to him and saying, hey, I could get started on setting up and I could get literally taping the, different colored tape to the floor so I can have my setups ready to go if you let me do the shot list or if you can just spare a few moments. So I'm thinking he's got to have some crazy shooting style he's wanting to do. And I'm getting nervous because I'm like, if it's something super crazy and super complex, I need to start figuring that out, because it's going to be I got to make that happen now, He sits down finally with me when we're about 20 minutes till we need to start shooting. We have to start shooting now. And he starts doing this shot list with me. It was film school 101. Basic, master, screen left, screen right, conversation, two shot, this, that. The most basic shot list on the planet. So I even look at him at one point and I say, hey man, you've seen my work. And he goes, oh, of course I've seen your work. I said, did I do anything wrong on the last shoot? He goes, no, last shoot was perfect. I said, so then this is like literally a film school shot list. I said, I have skills and have stuff to help out. And we were talking about things like that. And this is a spy movie, and we could do something that's a little more creative, but you have to give me some leeway in it. And he goes, no, we don't have time for that now, because now we don't have time for that. So this is just what you need to do. This is as advanced as you should go. So I'm like, okay. So then we start shooting the film. As we're shooting the film, all of a sudden, I'm not allowed to start setting up pre-shots. He now feels the need to come over and start looking at every single thing and making sure the ISO's not changing, right? But the ISO, everything is done to his liking, his standard, right there on every single shot. And I keep telling him, hey, we should get moving. I need you to trust me. I need you to trust me. I know what I'm doing. Like, you didn't have a problem on the other set. If you had a problem on the other set, I understand why you get so worried about this. But I've literally shown you I don't know what's going on. And so what happened is, or what kept happening is that we just kept losing time. All of a sudden he wants to get another take. Take, we have to wait. 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 Well, then the bar decides, hey, we're going to open early. And they literally cut our film right there. We ended up coming out with a product that is finished, it's not unique in any way. And this is a festival. This is for a festival. It's not unique in any way. It wasn't well thought out. The story really sucked. And then there was just really basic, like it looked like some film students made it, and film students on like class 1 with the teacher looking over their shoulder. And the guy was so proud of it. And then I looked, and I was like, what and then I look at his other work and I realize, I'm like, it should go both ways. If I'm going to be hired on a project, I need to start looking into the people I'm getting hired on, because when I looked at his projects and I looked at the previous stuff he'd done for the past 30 years, his work has not improved. It looks the same to this day, and it's been about 6 or 7, maybe 8 years since this happened. I can guarantee his work looks the same. People don't learn when they put themselves in a box. His lesson right there was that he put himself in this Hollywood box of what he perceived Hollywood to be like. It's not like that in indie, right? It's not even like that really in Hollywood, but in indie film, you're trying to make something happen, and especially in competition, you're trying to compete, you're trying to be better than them. So if you're trying to do that, you really need to have your ducks in a row. You really need to take things seriously and pausing every 5 seconds to make sure that, so-and-so, if you don't trust them, don't hire them. So that's the other thing, is trust them. If you hire somebody to do the job and they're better at you than the job, shut your mouth. Sit back, let them do their work. You need to focus on the other stuff. If he would have focused on the performances would have been better. But he didn't. He focused on me. And he was the one that was directing the camera. So all those shots were his. That's how bad it can get. And it's just something that you lose an opportunity. If he would have done something, I'm not saying that the film would have won an award or anything like that, or done anything, because I have no idea. I'm not going to guarantee that. But what I can guarantee is it would have looked different. It would have looked different. And there was a possibility that it could have looked better, because my cinematography was unique. And when I look at my cinematography over these years, it's changed. It's progressed. It's gotten better. And the reason it's gotten better is because I'm open. I learn from everything that I can. So learn from everything that you can, especially if you are blessed enough to be able to hire somebody, or like in this next part of this video, you're able to convince somebody to come onto it. Use them. Be a part of them. Don't be rude. Don't be a dick. Don't insult them. Don't act like you know better than them, because it's your story, it's your thing. If they are better in this business, you should be thankful that they're willing to help you out. And the way that you know that they're better at this business is, are they better than you at this business? Are they making money? Is their stuff winning awards? Are they, what's going on? And don't have this ego hit of, if I'm the director, I'm the one, I should be the best, person in this room. You're the leader, so you probably want the best tools. If you're the director and you have a really bad cinematographer, yeah, how great of a director are you? Because people are looking at your movie and they don't want to watch your movie because the cinematography sucks. You want the best of everything, and you are still leading the ship. It's still your baby. So now adding in you're getting them for free. So if you're asking somebody to do it for free, especially somebody that is worth something and they get paid for what they do, you need to be very careful and cautious about how you do that. You need to be extremely respectful, you need to be extremely mindful, and you need to make them believe in you. They're doing you a favor. If you're to do that, you shouldn't expect anything more of them. Do not ask for anything more of them. You ask them, hey, will you be a part of this project? And when they say, hey, what do you think of this? Answer honestly, but don't shut everything down. I've had so many projects where I come on to a film production and I sit down and I start working with them and they ask like another story. This is a wild story. So I end up getting reached out to by this lady who is doing a lesbian romance film. And she reaches out to me because I shot a lesbian romance film. And my lesbian romance film did 69,000 views on YouTube and won an award, right? And so she reaches out to me and she goes, hey, I'm making one of my own. Is there any way that I could buy you some coffee and talk to you and pick your brain about how to make a movie like that? And I said, you know what, sure. And she tells me where she's at. And at the time, it was like an hour drive from me. But I said, you know what, I'm gonna be cool. And I don't have anything to do that day, so why not? I'll go up and I'll talk to her and I'll give her some advice. So I sat there and I spent probably like an hour and a half just giving her advice on how to shoot things, how to light things, how to talk to the actors, things that I learned from when I was dealing with this, stuff that, things that I, thought it was gonna work, but it didn't really work. I just gave her everything I could under the sun because I was like, that's so cool that number one, you want to learn, and number two, you got me a coffee and that's dope. And so after that was done, I said, hey, if you need any more help, you just let me know. That was that. And I washed my hands of it and I felt good about it. I was like, that's my good deed of the week. That's pretty sick. Like now I can go back in my little cave and get back to work. Well, then I get reached out to her later on and she says, hey, we're shooting the proof of concept for that film just to kind of practice with our equipment and things like that. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, great for you. Let me know how it goes. And she goes, actually, I was wondering if you would be willing to come onto the set and give us some advice. And I said, what day? And then she tells me, and I go, okay, you know what? Sure. Why not? Like, if I can help out, I'll help out. That should be good. So I end up driving. Not 1 hour. This time I drive about 2.5 hours to go and help out. When I show up on the set, it's all cheery, and then with her, and then I see the two other people that she has, and these two dudes, that one is the producer, and the other one is the cinematographer. And both of them just kind of give me this look. They don't say hi to me. They don't, they don't introduce themselves until she introduces. They just kind of give me this look, and then they're just very quiet and weird. That's another thing that you shouldn't do. Make sure that everybody's on the same page and be like, hey, somebody's coming to help us out. Please be nice to them. Might be a good way to, do something. But then I sit there and I say, okay, like, hey, what do you need help with? And she goes, oh, we need somebody to drive the car so that somebody can sit in the background, in the back seat and shoot. This is where you can really mess up a good thing. It's not her fault that she's naive to what I could have offered her, even though she spent an hour and a half seeing what I could have offered. It is the fact that in her mind, she needed help with something, so she was going to use whatever was at her disposal, and she wasn't going to, she had this in her head that this was how this film was going to work, this was how it was going to be, and so now, like me being on the set, I'm helping her out, so I need to do whatever the hell she says, whatever is gonna help out the film. And so it feels like a demotion, from my perspective. Because I go, you asked me for advice, right? You asked me for advice in the text message. You said, advice. And then I'm now going to play the dolly card, because she didn't want to hear my advice. So instead of being angry and instead of flipping out, I go, all right, you know what? I already drove 2.5 fucking hours up here. I guess I'll just do it because I'm being too nice. Now, this is what I'll say in advice to other filmmakers who might find themselves in a position like this. Walk away. They need to learn their lesson. If they're gonna do something that's fucked up like that, walk away. Leave them be. Because they don't care. They don't see what you put into it. They don't give a shit. Leave. You have better things to do with your time. But I was being nice and I said, you know what, I would just stay. And so I stayed, and as we were shooting, I'm watching them work. Now, when you've been in this industry and the indie side of it for as long as I have, and you've done as many projects as I have done, you start to learn how things look from the outside. right? And you just start to get it. And so there are a lot of there are a lot of actors who in Hollywood who surprise people because the filmmaker, the cinematographer says, hey, we're going to be shooting with the 50 mil, we're going to be shooting with this, blah, 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 whatever it is. And then the actor will go, and they go, yeah. And he goes, cool. And now he knows how far he can move in the scene. And they say, how does he know that? He's done it for years. He knows what's going on. He pays attention. So when you say, hey, we're shooting this shot, and they go, I'm framed like this, right? They say, yeah. You say, cool. And now he knows what's going on. So I know what's going on. I've done this so many times. I've made so many things. I get it. I see it moving. And so as I'm watching the camera, we're shooting this film and we're shooting this scene, and they have these little tiny lamps that they're using. And they're standing beside, no shit, they're standing beside a stadium with massive, brightly lit fucking stadium lights aimed in their direction. But instead of using that light, and instead of using that to their advantage, they're trying to get a shot that now, and they're struggling, and they're going, God, that looks like shit. God, that looks like shit. God, that looks like shit. So eventually, by the time we'd hit like the fourth pass, I'm fed up. I get out the car and I go, all right. I said, look at this. I said, here, can you come over here? And I grab the cameraman, I pull him over to the side, and I say, hey, aim the camera like this, right? I said, okay, now you ladies, because they're having to ride on their bikes. I said, you ladies ride like this. I said, walk like this. He starts walking, they start riding. All of a sudden, he gets giddy. He's so happy. He goes, oh my God. And then they go through it, they come back, right? And as they come back, he goes, you guys have to see this. He shows them the shot, and it looks like something I've seen in Spielberg movie. It looks gorgeous. And then he looks at me, and the cinematographer is like, oh my God, what else do you know? And the producer and that director, her, were pissed off. Get your ego out of there, man. Get your ego out of there. Use the people that you have. Instead of seeing what the benefit of what I could bring was, she chose to put her ego in place. This is her film, her stuff, her setup. Well, you know what? That film still, to my knowledge, hasn't been made. My film got made, and I had nobody to help me out. I had nobody to give me advice. I had to do it by myself. If I had somebody to give me advice, you better goddamn believe that I would have taken it gladly. I begged for things like that, and I've been told no. She asks for it. Just, hey, or would you be willing? And I say yes. And she doesn't use it, and not only does she doesn't use it, she insults it. So, trying to get artists to work with you, don't insult them. Value them. You yourself are an artist, and you want to be valued, right? That's what you say. That's what you preach. That's what you say to all the Hollywood people and all the big stuff, Warner Brothers. Here's the fact. The fact is, you guys get pissed off that, they're not Warner Brothers, so why do I need to take it so seriously when you're not Warner Brothers either? You're not no Keanu Reeves. You're not none of them people. And notice how those people, like Keanu Reeves, help other people out. Look up how many stories he's helped out filmmakers and artists. If you're an artist, that is not your competition. And that's what you need to get through your head. If you think that they're your competition, you're your own competition, and they're going to beat you. They're your collective. If one of us makes it, all of us in this circle will eat. Happy Madison, Adam Sandler, we'll all eat if one of us makes it. But all of you want to be Adam Sandler so bad that you're not willing to open your eyes and go, oh my God, I'm not Adam Sandler. I'm Chris Rock. There ain't nothing wrong with being Chris Rock, man. But you want to be Adam Sandler so bad. You want to be the main guy. You want to be the one that does everything. You want to be there. Well, guess what? Adam Sandler, also, it's hard being Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler has everything he's got to deal with. So if you're going to be the king, you got to sit in the king's throne. You got to deal with king's shit. You don't want to do that either. You just want the rewards. And that's why you fail. And that's why you have such a hard time. And that's why nothing goes anywhere. Be the one that makes the change. Be the artist that you would want to work with.